Welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting video because I'll be giving you an in-depth look at our new Halloween gel polish collection, a Whimsy Halloween, which is officially available now. We'll also be walking through this coraline set step by step. I used all of the colors from the new collection as well as a bunch of our other products. I'll be showing you the box, swatches, and the nail art in terms of how to do it step by step. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. So as mentioned in the preview, this is our newest launch, a Whimsy Halloween. It's an 8-piece gel polish collection, which is officially available now. And here's a fun little animation before we go any further. I hope you enjoyed that. Our graphic designer did such a great job with this collection. I'll leave his information in the description if you're curious. And as you can see, this collection is inspired by all things WHIMSIGOTH and Halloween. The artwork for this collection is just so amazing. There's so many fun details on the box and all 4 sides of the box. Lots of blues, purples, a lot of glowing elements. So many fun WHIMSIGOTH and kind of mystical elements with the crystal ball and the potions and the black cat. I really wanted to bring the whimsy aesthetic to life through this collection. We've been working on this for a very long time. So the packaging itself is amazing, and the collection itself with the 8 gel polishes inside is even more amazing. And the marketing for this collection, we definitely took it to the next level. If you were following along on our Instagram, we had like animations, we have like some fun renderings as well, which I'll paste into this video. And even the back of the box has a really fun kind of whimsy goth pattern. So lots of details just within the packaging itself. So the 8 gel polishes are inside this really fun packaging, and the full collection is available on our website, like I mentioned now, doperthanyournails.com. The full collection is a special bundle price. You can also purchase individual shades as well, and you can use code YouTube to save 10%. This is definitely our best collection yet. The formulas are incredible. We worked really hard on them to get them right, and here's some fun renderings that our graphic designer put together, just kind of showcasing the packaging, the bottles, and the different colors. So let's get into the swatches. So first up is Into the Fog. This is a cat eye gel, a moonlight cat eye gel. It's not your average silver cat eye gel. It has a ghostly blue undertone, very much giving foggy October nights. Next up is Black Cat. This is also not your average black cat eye gel. It has smoky warm undertones, very sleek, mysterious, and our cat eyes are incredible. They're packed with so much glitter. They shift super easily even with the magnetic nail stand. This one is Crystal Ball, so these are definitely the showstoppers of the collection. This shifts from pink to blue. It's just so fun and perfect for spooky season. Definitely an eye catcher. And then we have Star Lamp, which is a similar type of polish, but a totally different color. This reminds me of Coraline itself. It goes from this dark blue to this really warm yellow. So many cat eyes are hard to work with. They're super watery, so I'm so proud to have these in our collection. They're super easy to use, creamy, and the glitter shifts super easily. And we have some fun solids, October Breeze, which is a pumpkin orange. This is Potion Garden, inspired by Practical Magic. These are all 1 coat coverage. I just did 2 for video purposes, but these are absolutely 1 coat coverage, super creamy. I'm very excited to have these solids in our collection. Midnight VHS is a retro blue. Then we have Velvet Locket, which is a muted lavender. Having a 1 coat coverage gel polish is so important. It just saves you so much time. So this is the full collection with everything side by side. This collection is definitely a must-have for spooky season and even beyond. So let's get into this Coraline set and we'll talk more about the colors there as well. So I'm starting off with Crystal Ball. This is from the new collection. This is that color shifting cat eye gel. It changes to this really fun electric blue. I thought this would be perfect for the inside of the portal nail. And for the portal itself, I'm going to be using Velvet Locket and Midnight VHS. These are 2 of the solids from the collection as well. And we're just going to alternate drawing kind of irregular lines. I wanted the portal to be kind of a little bit more bold and graphic versus kind of the blended look you see with it, just to showcase these colors more. And I love how this turned out. So I'm just layering the different colors, and as you can see, definitely a 1 coat coverage. And then I wanted to outline it with our cat eye gel. So I'm just using a black to lay down the outline itself. Now I'm applying Into the Fog just over those lines, just 1 layer of that. This is that ghostly blue cat eye gel. And I kind of did it piece by piece and activated it 1 by 1 just because You kind of want to make sure they don't all blend together. You don't want to accidentally demagnetize one while you're working on the other. So I would definitely cure in between. And this was just a fun way to kind of add a little bit more of a spooky element to the portal. Now for some shading, I'm taking our Violet Prism and Glass Atrium Jelly gel polishes. These are from the Art Glass collection. I'll be using the entire collection from that as well for this set. I just love using these jellies for shading. Just makes it super easy because they're pigmented but so buildable as well. And then I added some black mixed with jelly on the inside of the portal, and here we go. So I kind of wanted to make it my own version. That's kind of what this whole set is going to be. It's going to be my interpretation of Coraline, but more heavily focused on using our color palette and maybe veering a little bit from what you might typically see with a Coraline set for some of the nail art. So for the next nail, I am drawing Coraline's iconic Welcome Home cake. I'm using Potion Garden for the base. This is another one of the new solid colors, super creamy, self-levels amazing. All you need is one coat. Outline around the border using our Verdant Glaze gel polish. This is a super earthy, deep jelly green, also from the Art Glass collection. Jellies are so fun to use to create like different types of dimension and stuff. So I just wanted to create like a border with that. Then I'm taking this 3D gel and I just rolled it up into a ball, and now I'm just kind of flattening it out. I wanted to make sure it wasn't too big to where it was overpowering the nail, but also don't want it to be completely flat. So once I've got that set up, I'm now taking our Golden Hour gel polish, another jelly from the Art Glass collection, and just layering that over the cake. I'm using softer colors, jelly colors for the most part to start, before I start adding some depth with the solid colors. So this is October Breeze from the new collection, the Perfect Pumpkin Orange, and I'm just going to use that to draw around the majority of the circle that we created with the 3D gel. Now I'm taking Crystal Ball again just for the center of the cake. I'm going to put a thin layer and then just activate that with the magnet. So as you can see, this is not like super accurate to what Coraline's cake actually looks like, but this is like a fun way to make it your own version and play with different color palettes. I'm layering a few more colors here. This is our soft jelly pink rosette paint, and then I'm also using Etched Ember, which is our very fiery, like deep, almost like a neon orange, using that around the edge just to add a little bit more dimension. For the line work, I'm using our art gels because they have a thicker consistency, so they're perfect for this. They're like a gel paint type of consistency, also very creamy. So I'm just drawing a little border with Supernova. I'm using North Node as well, which is a kind of like textured glitter to create some frosting, and then 7th House for the Welcome Home lettering. And then I'm just kind of creating a little bit of a candle effect with a white circle and then Golden Hour again. I love how this turned out. I want a cake like this in real life. I love how it looks with the crystal ball at the center and the North Node for the frosting around it was just a perfect touch. Next, we are drawing Coraline herself. So we're taking Star Lamp for the base, which is absolutely perfect because it has like the blue and gold tones. I feel like it's Coraline in a bottle. But the first layer, I am going to demagnetize it and then cure and then put down my second layer. I've just been experimenting with the magnet and definitely got a super vibrant golden yellow effect with this. If you grab anything from the whole collection, these cat eyes are a must-have. Now we're going to mix two colors for Coraline. I used kind of a beige color and added a little bit of brown, and now I'm just drawing the outline of her face. So I'm just trying to make it more boxy on the sides and then make the chin kind of a elongated U, and then kind of the outline of her hairline at the top. You just don't want her face to be a perfect circle, so I just kind of take it piece by piece and draw the lines kind of matching the reference image. And I actually find more simple reference images like this easier to follow versus like images from the actual movie. And for the neck, just make sure it's like very, very skinny, and then we will draw her coat in with the pumpkin orange from the new collection, October Breeze. I'm just sketching out the top of her hood. I'm also making sure that this is not like a perfect circle. It's got a little bit of a curve and some irregular lines to it. This is going to be an orange blob altogether before we add shading, but you just got to trust the process. This is why I'm so happy to have more solid colors in our collection. This was so fun and easy to use when drawing her jacket. And just look at the comparison already from a Coraline set I did 2 years ago. It's so crazy to see the difference. I'll show the full set side by side. I think that Coraline on the right might have been like my first attempt at doing any sort of character nail art. Now I'm taking Etched Ember and just adding some shading on the inside of her jacket. So again, this is where those jelly colors are super helpful. Some black with some top coat just to outline just kind of the darker parts of the jacket. You could also use like a black jelly I'm using that for the sleeves as well, and then just layering more of that etched ember. And then I'm also bringing in more of that pumpkin orange to add in some highlights and to brighten up some areas, use them for the buttons and stuff like that. Now for Coraline's hair, we're using Midnight VHS. So this is that retro blue. This is such a stunning color. I feel like it's very whimsy in its own way. So I'm just using that to basically draw her hair. It's basically like a flat U-shaped upside down U. And then we're just gonna draw the edges. It's a curved line, and then you can draw the edges of her hair. And same thing, we're gonna just go ahead and fill that in, and then we'll add in more dimension. I've said it so many times, but this is another one of our solid colors in the Halloween collection that the formula is just so good. It's so creamy in one coat coverage. And now I'm using Glass Atrium, that jelly blue, to outline like the edge of her hair. I'm also going to use it around like the edge of her bangs and like where the forehead is, and you can already see how much dimension it's adding. But before, we are making this our own version, so I'm just putting my own twist on it. So I'm taking Star Lamp, which is that same golden yellow cat eye with the color shift, and we're going to apply that at the center of her hair, so in between where the shading is, and we're going to go ahead and activate that on each side. So just another fun way to add in like your own color palette that you're working with and incorporate fun things like cat eyes. I'm also using our Winter's Veil gel polish, which is a pearlescent white. This is from our winter collection, but I use this a ton. It's just to add in like more highlights and stuff. And then I'm using that same mixture with the black and top coat and just using that to outline everything. And now for the button eyes, I'm taking a little bit of 3D gel. I've already done one on the left, and I'm just using like the end of a pen to like flatten that out. And then I'm using the same Glass Atrium gel polish to add a little bit of color, mostly at the center, and then we're gonna draw 2 X's. I just had to make the eyes 3D. Sometimes I don't wanna like sculpt full characters, but I wanna add in some elements, so this is a fun way to do it. Now for the eyebrows and the eyes, the nose, and then the lips, I'm using our Rose Solstice gel polish. This is like a muted, dusty rose color. And then for the smile, I'm just drawing 2 thin lines with the stitching. And Rosette Pain, the same jelly pink. We're gonna use that to add shading around the face. And this just really ties the whole look together. So if you haven't invested in like jellies, like high quality pigmented jellies, definitely do so, especially from our art glass collection. The tones and shades are just so perfect for things like this. So this is kind of like the style of character nail art that I've been loving lately. So now I'm also taking Crimson Wash just to even add in a little bit more contrast around the edges, make it a little bit more dramatic. But again, because these are jellies, they blend so easily. So if you feel like you're not really great at shading, you're really struggling with it, try out this hack versus trying to blend in like opaque gel polishes or gel liners, because it's so much harder to mess up because you would need to add in like a ton of product and they just blend so easily as is. Now I'm just adding in like a little bit of solid white at the center of her cheeks, like between the eyebrows and on the nose, just to up the highlights a little bit, make it a little bit brighter. And there we go. Now we're going to add our top coat, and there she is. I'm just kind of making sure it's not pooling too much around the eyes. I absolutely love how Coraline turned out. I feel like it's night and day from the old Coraline set that I did, which I will show you. I love how the cat eye like shines in her hair. And yeah, like I said, this is kind of my way of doing character nail art lately. It's not overly complicated or hyper realistic, but it's definitely a fun way to add in some characters. This is definitely the hardest part of the nail set in my opinion. So, but we have to draw in Coraline. This was the only character that I ended up doing for the whole set, so now we'll continue on with the rest. Here's how she looks under the flash. You can see the cat eye like really jump out even more. The color shift is just so fun in those colors. I absolutely love them. Now we're going to be drawing the Pink Palace. So I'm taking Black Cat, which is that smoky black cat eye gel, and we're going to go ahead and apply a layer and then demagnetize it, and then cure that, and then apply the second layer. And once we put down that second layer, before curing anything, we're going to take our magnet, and look at how easily that glitter is shifting. Like, I've always struggled with cat eyes. Like, I love how they look, but it's so hard to find good ones that like aren't watery or like don't even shift the magnet, the glitter easily with the magnet. So these are just so amazing to use. And we are going to be using Velvet Locket, which is that muted lavender from the Halloween collection. And it is the Pink Palace, but just trust the process. This is like my own version of it. but I did want to use this purple as the base just to really showcase it, but we are going to add in more detail. So I'm just outlining kind of like the front facade of it. I didn't want to make the outline too complicated, so we're keeping that pretty simple, but we are going to add in detail. So I'm just adding like the roof, which does have like a window in it, and then it's basically like 3 stories that we're drawing here. And then I'm taking that Supernova art gel and blending that into the paint while it's still wet, just so it gets a smoother blend. And this is like how I'm kind of making it more pink without like using pink as the base color. And now I'm layering more of that soft pink rosette paint around that same border that we drew. As you can see, it's already adding a little bit more of like a glowing dimensional effect. And so this is another fun way to incorporate some more pink. Also using this to create thin lines, which is basically drawing like the siding on the house, like the wood siding. Now we're going to use Violet Prism, which is that jelly purple, and outline everything with that as well before we move on to the roof. Just outlining like the top of the roof, and again like sectioning off the houses. So then like under the eaves there's like a scalloped detail. I just made it simple and drew like almost like a lace detail. And now we're going to use Golden Hour for the windows. This is perfect for that kind of glowy window effect. So I drew like a white square with white gel polish. I added that Golden Hour at the center, and then we can brighten that up even more by adding a little bit of white at the center as well. But before I did that, I added more October Breeze around the edges, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add the white. I also wanted to add like a little bit more cat eye, so I'm taking Crystal Ball and I did a thin layer of that black jelly, cured it, and now I'm applying Crystal Ball, activating that with the magnet, and then doing another layer of that etched ember and Violet Prism, just kind of creating kind of that moody atmospheric effect that you kind of see in the movie with like the pink palace glowing in the night and Coraline's like running around and trying to escape the other mother. So that's what I was kind of going for with that. So here's the final results. Now it's time to draw the dancing mice. So we're using October Breeze as the base. All you need is 1 coat. This is that pumpkin orange that I've been using for the nail art all throughout. Also great as a base. I love how this is like a softer orange color, like it's not neon, it doesn't have any red orange undertones. And then we're gonna take that etched ember jelly color, and then just so we're kind of in line with the cake nail, we're gonna use this for a border. Now I'm just rolling out a 3D gel little piece here just to create a little ball. Pretty simple, you just roll it out, flatten it out a little bit. Then I'm using our 7th house art gel. This is a solid red. So perfect for like nail art and details and things like that. It's thicker than a gel polish. It covered up this little 3D gel so quickly and easily. I'm just using that to get into all of the edges and make sure I've covered everything. Now I'm gonna draw a little star at the center. I'm using October Breeze again. I'm just sketching it out like the same way you would do as a kid, like on your notebook, and then filling that in. Now for the dancing mice. So I'm using a beige color and outlining like the face, and I'm gonna draw the tail, which is like super curved, and just kind of start to connect all of that, and then draw like these angled lines for the feet. I'm taking 7th house again and drawing his little jacket, filling that in, and then we're gonna draw his little hat as well. I've never drawn like an animal like this on nail art, so I just tried to take it like piece by piece. I even went back and like refined the proportions as needed. Drawing his little hands with the jacket, and then his hat. Added a little bit of a like black circle at the top and some October Breeze for like the top, the brim of the hat, is that what it's called? And before I drew his little ear, I'm gonna take etched ember once again just to add a little bit of warmth to where I added the orange, just so it doesn't blend into the background too much. I'm also outlining the jacket with Crimson Wash, which is that dark red jelly, just to add a little bit more depth. I'm also taking a darker brown and just adding a little bit of shading to the mouse, just so it's not so flat, adding a little bit to the face as well. And then we're gonna draw his eyes, and then I'm using that black with top coat mixed together just to outline everything. I love doing this when I don't want to outline with like a black gel polish, but I still want a little bit of like a soft outline look, not so harsh. And then I top coated. I did top coat separately around the little ball just because it can get really like start to pool up together. So you can just take some top coat on your brush and top coat the ball separately. I love how this turned out. This was like one of the most fun parts of the set to create. Now it's time for some darker, moodier nail art. So I'm taking Midnight VHS. This is that retro blue. It looks brighter on camera, but it's actually a lot more toned down. Not saying it's not pigmented, but Just have to see it in person. Then I'm taking Into the Fog and creating a little bit of a border and activating that with the cat eye magnet. Then we're gonna go ahead and take that same black jelly mixture and create another outline and then layer the glass atrium gel polish from Art Glass over that. Now I'm creating like these like twisted kind of vines, branches, whatever you want to call them, all around the border, because we're going to be drawing the other mother's hand reaching out into the middle. So this is like one of the scenes from I almost called her Caroline. Oh my gosh, Coraline. Caroline is the joke from the movie, but I also layered some of Antique Jade over that, which is another one of our jellies, added some white highlights with the blue over that, and now I'm taking Winter's Veil, which is our pearlescent white. We're going to be using this to kind of create like a moon / key. So I thought this would be kind of fun to do, like to draw the moon and then extend part of it to create a key, and then also add some buttons with that same Midnight VHS at the center of that. So here's the other mother's hand just reaching out. You just want to draw a bunch of angled kind of scraggly lines, and then you can also add more detail to that. Went ahead and finished that key. I'm kind of going back and forth here, but I love how this turned out. I'm adding some white highlights as well to the hand, and then I'm taking our Frozen Meadows gel polish for a little bit of a hint of neon on top of that. I'm using like the smallest amount on my brush, and here's the final result. You can't have a Coraline set without some sort of key and the other mother's hand, so I love how this one turned out. I'm kind of doing like different nail art on all of the nails and really trying to capture the whole movie and like tell the story of it, so they don't all necessarily match, but they work well together. So now we're gonna do just some accent nails for the pinkies. I'm taking that same velvet locket color, that muted lavender, just applying that as the base. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking. Now we're just gonna draw some simple spider webs. I'm just drawing that from like the same point angling out, just drawing straight lines. And then we're gonna draw these curved, elongated U shapes for the web. Make them upside down once you get to the bottom of the nail, and just make sure they're lining up. That's the best way to do a spider web. As long as like they're kind of all lined up, it'll look cohesive. And I am gonna layer our cat eye over that just to add a little bit of something fun and interesting. So I'm just doing like 3 at a time, activating it with the magnet, curing. I am doing it mostly piece by piece, but I think for the different webs, like the U shapes, you can do like 3 at a time, totally fine. Definitely wanted to add in some spider webs. That's definitely a big part of Coraline as well. Now we got to add some stars, stay in line with the Coraline theme. So I did those in that same Midnight VHS blue, and I'm layering Star Lamp over that and just activating it with the magnet. These kind of remind me of the stars on her sweater. I mean, they're not yellow, but just like kind of the whole aesthetic of them. We're gonna outline that with orange, and then we're just gonna add some like green dots, add a little bit of Frozen Meadows at the center of those dots as well. Just like some fun accent nails, and go ahead and top coat that. I love how bright and fun these are. And then for the last nail, we are doing a whimsy black cat design. The cat from Coraline, like a silhouette. So I did Violet Prism, and then I'm layering Blue Hour, which is my personal favorite out of all of our colors from our winter collection. I also layered some Winter's Veil just for the background, and now I'm just taking some black gel polish and drawing the outline of the cat. He's kind of like looking into the sky, like the kind of moody atmospheric sky that you see in Coraline. And then once that's cured, I did take the black cat gel polish, the cat eye, and just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm doing this piece by piece just so they don't all blend together, but I love how this turned out. I've never like layered cat eye over like nail art like that, so that was like my first time trying it versus like using it for like details and background and stuff. And then I went ahead and just added some moody clouds with Winter's Veil, our pearlescent white, definitely another one of my most used colors, and then some stars with pixie dust and golden hour. And we're gonna go ahead and top coat that. And there's the cat from Coraline. I mean, it's just like the silhouette, but still super fun. And before you see the full set all together, these are my Coraline nails from 2 years ago. So you can see I only did like 5 nails. And don't get me wrong, I'm super proud of these. You know, every set is special to me, but just look at the difference like compared to now, like 2 years later, and using colors from my own brand. Like, it's just like night and day, like so cool to see. So here's the full set. Here's all of it together. I think this is one of my favorite sets I've ever done, so I hope you enjoyed. As I mentioned, a Whimsy Halloween is available now on our website, doperthanyournails.com. Use code YouTube to save.